My name is Ryan Neal, and I'm a bonsai professional who is pursuing the development and evolution of American bonsai and an American style to bonsai. Starting to pursue bonsai and become passionate about it when you have a limited knowledge and limited resources. I mean, I lived out in the middle of the mountains. There were no clubs. There's very few books at that point in time on bonsai. The internet was still pretty functionless. Trying to pursue bonsai with limited resources, like trying to run a race on like a broken leg. I wanted that knowledge. I wanted to become better, and there was no way to gain that knowledge until I found Harold Sasaki, my first instructor.
For the spruce on the deadwood.
Harold took me under his wing and started teaching me how to collect.
Shift it this way a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Hand down and let it lean back.
I would go out into the mountains, take pictures. I would come back, I would show him. He would tell me how he would extract them. And my dad and I started going and just collecting trees as much as we possibly could.
Go up a little bit more. There we go. In here. Okay.
When I was 17, a family friend handed me an issue of Bonsai Today, which was an older American publication. And inside of it was an article of Mr. Kimura transforming this fantastic collected juniper. And he did such significant things to the tree to move the branches and sculpt the deadwood. And he took it from this wild, raw thing to this living piece of art that had a personality. And that's the only thing I can kind of quantify it as, is he gave it a voice. It literally had a personality. It was identifiable when you looked at it. That was the moment when I knew I wanted to study with him. That's where I'm going. That's what I'm going to do. That was it.
Can you guess which one is mine? Alright. Bookcase is my air conditioner heater. Desk full of rocks. My own personal collection of bonsai. Sports Illustrated Love. We have bench press. It's mainly served as a bench for bonsai trees lately.
My first day as an apprentice, I showed up like 3 hours early, and I was waiting for the other apprentices to show up. And so then 9 o'clock, which was starting time, rolled by, and nobody was there. Mr. Kimura wasn't there, and so I was just waiting, and the anxiety was building. And then Mr. Kimura came out of his house, so I ran to him, and I said good morning in my best Japanese, and he didn't even acknowledge my existence. He just walked right by me. And he started watering. I basically watched him water for about 3 hours, made sure the hose didn't kink, and he wouldn't talk to me the entire time. He sat down in the workshop after he finished watering, and I stood there and watched him work until he finally gave me a small menial piece of work, cleaning dead needles out of a tree. Yeah, my first day, all the apprentices came back that afternoon. They'd been away on a work trip delivering trees, and it was like chaos boomed in the garden. I mean, people were running everywhere. And Mr. Kimura got mad at me because I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, and that was kind of the beginning of my apprenticeship. That bout of anger, the end of my first day, that was consistent for the next 4 years of my life. Mr. Kimura's garden is outside of Tokyo, about a 45-minute train ride.
The train tracks.
It's a huge piece of property for a Japanese portion of land that close to Tokyo, probably 2 or 3 acres in the middle of a developed city. The front portion of his garden is all finished trees, all of his most famous trees, just absolutely beautiful. And I would say there's probably 300 trees that every single one of them could completely change your opinion of bonsai for the better.
Well, here we are, spring again. All the same stuff to look at. Alright, man. Well, I've been promising you the shit, so here it is. Enjoy. Well, chicka, wow. I wired that one. $5 million tree.
And then his home and his private garden and pond are right in the middle of the property. And then the back of the property is gated and you can't get back there. And back there is where there's probably anywhere between 900 and 1,000 trees being developed.
That's where I got this house.
And that was where the bulk of our work actually took place as apprentices.
That's a cage full of cats. This is where I kick it. This is my shit. This is my territory. This is the back. Welcome.
As the youngest apprentice, you are the grunt for everyone.
Probably the best tree I've ever seen in my life.
Whatever Mr. Kimura says you have to do immediately, and whatever any of your senpai or older apprentices say you have to do immediately. And there were times where I would have 4 senpais telling me what to do and Mr. Kimura telling me what to do, and you have to get it all done.
This is looking out from the greenhouse at what I get to deal with every day.
It's a very stressful position to sit in, particularly in a garden the size of Mr. Kimura's, with the level of productivity and the rapidity of work that's occurring.
Alright, I'm going to show you the workshop now, but there's people in there, so it's going to be top secret right here.
Every aspect of being an apprentice I failed at 120%. I did not fit in at all. My mentality about accepting responsibility and taking accountability for my actions, my willingness to admit I didn't know or I couldn't do, the humility. And I worked really hard over the course of my 6-year apprenticeship to not be the weak link in Mr. Kimura's lineage of apprentices who had helped him found this significant garden that changed the face of modern bonsai. Washing rags was the very first thing that Mr. Kimura taught me to do as an apprentice, and the sink at which we washed rags every day was a place that I would go and reflect on the mistakes I had made, what I was trying to accomplish, and continually remind myself why I was there. It was also the place where I realized what Mirai meant and where Mirai kind of became an ingrained part of my apprenticeship and the future of my life. It was a piece of electrical conduit, and the company that manufactured it was named Mirai, and it ran right in front of that sink. And so I looked at the word Mirai every day as I thought about my future. And once I realized what it meant, I realized I'd been washing rags sort of as a vehicle to get me where I wanted to go and persevere through this intense apprenticeship to be able to pursue bonsai professionally at some point in my life.
The biggest problem with this is how tall it is.
I was struggling in the fourth year of my apprenticeship, feeling like I wasn't able to meet or keep up with the demands of Mr. Kimura. And I started thinking, what am I going to do for a living with bonsai? And I sat down and asked myself, why did I come? Why did I come to Japan? I came to Japan to learn the things I couldn't learn in the United States. And I realized nowhere in the United States could I go and see bonsai being practiced professionally in the same manner that it's practiced professionally in Japan. And so I put together a plan where I saw this garden created where people could come and see bonsai practiced professionally at its highest level. No less than Japan, but in a manner different than Japan, a manner more true to an American form and style. And I saw a school that would educate people on the techniques that I'd worked so hard to find, but couldn't find prior to going to Japan. And I saw that garden calling for potters and stand makers to be supplying us with a new level, a higher grade of craftsmanship and goods that we could use to elevate the aesthetic quality and level of bonsai in the United States. And really create that benchmark and drive this culture and economy in the United States forward. I think anytime you want to create something that really inspires people, you've got to have an environment. You could have the best bonsai trees in the world in a really unappealing environment, and they would only have half of the impact. I was back in Oregon on a trip home to see friends. One of my good friends said there's a piece of property up the road for sale, and he drove me up here. And we walked up to this beautiful, secluded hillside with incredible views and just this really quaint cabin. And it was immediate. I knew this was where Mirai needed to be. Everything about it was right.
Swing around. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna swing this way. Alright, go ahead and go up this way. I'll just back her.
I think when I started Mirai, I didn't know, just like I dreamed of being an apprentice, I dreamed that Mirai could be this place where bonsai is practiced at its highest level every day, and it inspired and educated and really generated this bank of craftspeople pushing bonsai to a higher level. I dreamed that that could happen. 5 years into Mirai, I have no doubt that it's happening, and it's happening faster and at a level that is far beyond what I had originally thought possible. I don't know where the end of the road lies for Mirai or for myself. I do, however, identify that at any stage in your life, you have an amount of experience, maturity, and creative power to generate something that is very specific to you at that one portion of your life. If you don't seize the opportunity to use that chance, that one moment in your life where all of those things line up to create something truly special, you lose it. And you never have it again. Right now, I have the ability, the creativity, the maturity to do what I'm doing, and I'm seizing it. It's opening the door to an entirely new set of dreams and aspirations above and beyond what I ever could have conceptualized during my apprenticeship or during the first few years coming back.
Look at the door. My God, right there.
Jim, some good luck. Gonna need it.